Good existence, cosmopolitans, and welcome back to the community-supported apothecary, JD's Apothecary. I'm JD, Nicholas Jensen Dent, and the Spagirus is here making all of your botanical remedies and pontificating your philosophies. And really, what I'm trying to do here is connect the metaphysical world. Well, I mean, they're already connected. I'm trying to elucidate the connection between the metaphysical world and the physical world. And a lot of that comes in the way of philosophy. So alchemy and spagyria is a reflection and extrapolation of the Renaissance era Prisca Theologia, which is a perennial philosophy which sought to understand the core underlying concepts of every world religion that these alchemists could get their hands on. This is what spawned the Rosicrucian Enlightenment, which was the Renaissance era Enlightenment that occurred in the late 1200s and swept across all of Europe, as they say, and eventually landed in the Americas in the Second Great Awakening, and so on and so forth. And so this perennial theologia, Prisca Theologia, well, it's never ending. And so that's why we're here today. Because it is a new era, it is a new world, there's a new language, there's a new word order, as they say. And so we really have to remember that our world, our experience, and ourselves is not dependent on the language, and we shouldn't put so much weight onto these words. And I think oftentimes in our world that that's really the cause of a lot of the misunderstanding between individuals, societies, institutions, nations, is just communication breakdown is what we're suffering from. Excuse me, also some technical difficulties, but we're good now. So these perennial teachings, what we have here is a bunch of symbols that really are all saying the same thing, but people don't see that they're saying the same thing. And that's because these symbols are all in reference to something that is experiential and internal to the mind and the psychosomatic awareness, but the people using the language, which is a tool or a map or what have you, don't seem to understand that it is an internalized experience that the language is trying to direct them to. And so we have created all these systems of spirituality, which are religions now, that are icon worship. And if you've noticed, at the center of every really religion or system of spirituality, there is this focal point, there is this icon, there is this symbol. For the Hindus, it is the Om symbol. For the Christians, it is Christ on the cross. For the Jews, it is the that cube on their head. In Israel, they go and kiss the wall. And for the Muslims, it is that other cube in Mecca, which they circumambulate ritually. And the list goes on and on back to the pagan times. Everybody's got these deities, these altars, these churches, these synagogues, these things which they go and they have to focus their energy and their intention and their awareness onto this thing so that they might build this bridge to the divine. Now the alchemists were the syncretists, they were also called, the perennial philosophers, the thinkers of the Renaissance. Now understand, the Renaissance is just something that a bunch of people that came a couple hundred years after the Renaissance decided to call that section in time. The people that were in the Renaissance didn't actually realize they were going through the Renaissance. They were just fighting for their freedom and what they truly believed in. And so what did they believe in? Silencium Universi, the Great Silence, the Fourth. They believed in some sort of God, and they believed in some sort of lesser beings between human and that God, and they believed in an even lesser being beneath human. And so, Silencium Universi, what are these beings? What are they really describing? Are they egregors? Are they tulpas? Are they the Holy Spirit being made manifest? Are they demons? Are they aliens? What is going on, and how does it relate to the Great Silence? Because how does it relate to symbols? Well, all these symbols are really saying the same thing. The Om symbol consists of 4. The Tetragrammaton, the Christian Abrahamic symbol, consists of 4. It's a reference to the Decad, which is the Godhead of the material reality. And if you understand what a Decad is, you are a Decad. That's why they say you are the 4th, because in the Tetragrammaton, 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 equals 10. And so Yod, the first word of the Tetragrammaton, Yod, means hand, which means 5. Okay? So the texts say that ye are God. And the Hindus will, all billion of the Hindus will celebrate when one of them realizes that they are Brahma. And so they're all saying the same thing, but we're all a little bit confused because of the angles of the vibration of the air in between us is throwing everything awry. And so we have to write it all down. And so you got the symbol from the Om, which got that very little square at the tip top. That's the monad. That's the ineffable source. That is the absolute Pelaroma, the source of the totality, not the source, but the totality of divine powers. Right beneath that, you have the 4th. Now the Hindus, or the Hindus write in Sanskrit, so they go from right to left as opposed to English, which goes left to right. So that would explain why this numbering scheme is all upside down, because the 4th in Hinduism is the Great Silence, or the superluminal conscious existence, or what we can call they do call it the Great Silence. Now it is the 4th which nets together the remaining 3, the state of wakefulness, dreaming, and deep sleep. These are all subluminal fields, material reality, body-bound, and dreaming would be, you are not necessarily body-bound, but you are not aware of your true self. You are sort of in a simulation that's running without your ability, and without your awareness, right? They call that unconscious sleep. And that is what most of us do all the time. Dreaming, deep sleep, wakefulness. We're all very familiar with these. So the 4th is the Great Silence, and it nets these 3 together. It is the ambiance, the hypostatic background behind all of these. Tariya, Swami Sri Sukteswara, great man, wrote the Holy Science. He said it best. You are the 4th. That's where I took it from. Now, perennial philosophy, not picking and choosing, but intellectually analyzing and comparing to peel apart the layers of the meaning. The 4th, now we live in a symbolic universe, and so the symbols don't interact to formulate the universe. There's a deeper, more integral constant beneath the symbols that create the universe. And like I said, all these symbols mean the same thing. All these words, all these languages have a common ancestor. They're all going back to the same source. They're all really saying the same thing, myriad different ways. And so when we have the 4th in Hinduism, you have Om, you have the Great Silence. And when you have the 4th in Christianity, you have the Tetragrammaton. Now the 4th represents the 4 elements as well. They are the fusion of all of the elements in the material world, okay? And they say you, physical form, are the 4th. You are the fusion of all of these things together, and and you consist of everything that goes into the fourth, which really is the decad. It is the supreme, the decad, the 10. Now, I'm not just holding my hands up because I'm crazy. I'm holding my hands up because the yod is the fifth, where is the yod means 5 in gematria. Excuse me. Yod means 10. It's a reference to the hand. Yod means hand. It also means 10. That's what I'm trying to say. And so you see there's an integral relationship between the symbolism of the supreme being and the geometrical and numerological innate characteristics of nature and humanity and me and you, okay? So the scripture says, ye are God. We go on. So this great silence, this compilation of the entire universe into one thing, which they're telling us is us. Where is the connection? So those religions are pretty old. They're watered down. They don't really make any sense. Nowadays, we have science. So let's connect this all and put it to rest finally, because what are they telling us in the world? Like, the UFOs are here. The government went from not acknowledging this phenomena to saying, all right, they're real. We are in contact with them, and they are out of our control. So we went from going in a universe where we were alone to going into a highly populated and sub-alpha creature universe. That is the type of sentiment that the mainstream media is trying to sanctify, that there are aliens out there in the universe more advanced than us, and we don't know what that means or how to contact them because you've never seen one, and the TV and the telly and the real videos of them, the real information, they're only ever going to come through the internet, right? And through the YouTube and through hopefully mainstream media one day. But that is, as we know, a bunch of bullshit, and you should never watch the TV. So the fourth and the paradox, Fermis Paradox and the Great Silence. The fourth is the Great Silence. Now, Enrique Fermi, talks about the Great Silence. The universe has been alive for 4.5 billion years or something like that, and there has been enough time and enough space for enough highly advanced civilizations out there in the universe to develop to the point that they would be a hyper intelligent, or I say that, a hyper advanced species where they would have developed interstellar travel. Henrique's point is that the rate of technological advancement means that if indeed there were habitable planets out there, and statistics say they should, then they should be so densely populated with beings that they would have had to branch out into the universe by now and inhabited every single inhabitable aspect of it, which means we would not have had to been looking this hard or this long to find some form of physical alien life with all of our telescopes and our Hubbles and our SETIs, you see. And so this is the paradox. It's, where are they? They should be here, but they're not here. But we know they're here, sort of, but who's ever really seen them? And so this is the Great Silence. Are they among us? Are they us? Are they working in the government? Are they working in Area 51? No, it's all a bunch of bullshit. You are the fourth, right? You are Tertia. You are the Great Silence. And so the Great Silence is actually a state of consciousness. You have to silence your mind. You have to silence your conscience, which is the talking string of endless jabber, the squirrel mind or the monkey mind, they call it. You have to silence your bodily movements, and it really helps if you silence all your senses. You just stop interpreting sense data, so that way you can experience the great silence which is within you. It is you. So you experience this great silence, which is the fourth. Then you experience the Om, the Tetragrammaton, the monad, the Pleroma, right? So you go to the fourth and you touch the absolute. And then you see that the absolute is unity, it is oneness, it is origin, it is source, it is limitless bliss, it is where orgasms come from. But further, between unity and the fourth, there is the 3 and the 2. Now, it doesn't seem like a lot, but the 3 and the 2 is actually these aliens that they're talking about, right? The egregors, the tulpas, which one are they? Where are they? I'm going to tell you right now, we will never see aliens unless we move within our consciousness and experience the silence of our own essence. And then, right, what's it say in the Tao about silence? The sage knows that there is no such thing as silence. You get into silence, you get into stillness, and there is great movement in stillness. There's great noise and silence, but you have to go in. Silencium Universi, you are the fourth cosmopolite. Experience the great silence within you. Make contact. There are other entities, there are other intelligences, there are helping hands, there is another invisible world overlaying this world and interacting with our world on a daily basis. And if we understood truly and could interact with that world, we would have our power back. That is what I am after. We would have our power back as human beings, and we would have a completely, I think that in our world we need to see a decentralization of authority and a return to our sovereign roots. I think humanity was intended to be sovereign by our Creator. And so to move towards that sovereign goal will be something that would benefit not just ourselves, but the entire world. So with that, cosmopolitans, citizens of the universe, citizens of the great silence, thank you for listening. Enjoy a beautiful existence, a boundless existence, and one day I'll see you on the other side.